We're going to go into Fort Knox to make sure the gold is there.
Are they going to?
You know that we're going to go into Fort Knox. Do you know about that?
One thing potentially that could happen, and people are questioning it, is maybe remarking gold. Elon Musk, who's leading Doge, was talking about maybe going to Fort Knox to make sure those gold reserves are there. That comes under your purview. Do you have any plans to visit Kentucky?
I don't have any plans. I can tell you that we do an audit every year. I can tell the American people on camera right now that there was a report September 30th, 2024. All the gold is there. Any U.S. senator who wants to come and visit it can arrange a visit through our office. Gold
was your biggest holding when you were a hedge fund manager before you divested to become the Treasury Secretary. So you know the value of where gold is right now versus where it's marked on its balance sheet, just north of $40 an ounce. It's close to $3,000. Is it under consideration for this administration to revalue gold?
I think that somehow when we were talking about the sovereign wealth fund and I said monetize the balance sheet, I can promise you that's not what I had in mind.
The PBOC has been buying massive amounts of gold because I believe that they are moving toward a partial backing of the renminbi. What the Chinese want is for the renminbi to be A, then the, that's longer term, but world reserve currency. The Chinese mercantile exchange now will price gold in renminbi.
See things happening on the margin. This Shanghai Gold Exchange, being able to pay for oil, which is the ultimate the commodity, and the rupees and RMB. So you've now moved the U.S. out of the way.
War in the Federal Reserve itself, in terms of the system. What do you think of that idea?
I don't think that's how people think about it. I mean, it's so, people use Bitcoin as a speculative asset, right? It's like gold. It's just like gold, only it's virtual. It's digital. People are not using it as a form of payment or as a store of value. It's highly volatile. It's not a competitor for the dollar. It's really a competitor for gold.
If you think about the benefits of digital money, there are huge potential gains. It's not just about digital forms of physical currency. You can have programmability, units of central bank currency with expiry dates. You could have, as I argue in my book, a potentially better and some people might see it, or a darker world where the government decides that units of central bank money can be used to purchase some things, but not other things that it deems less desirable.
A large and growing number of countries are steaming ahead with development and deployment of central bank digital currencies. And while crypto assets, including stablecoins, have had their ups and downs, they're not going away.
If we are to be successful, CBDCs could not be fragmented national propositions. To have transactions more efficient and fairer, we need systems that connect countries. In other words, we need interoperability.
In many emerging markets, CBDC is looked as a very important avenue to deepen financial inclusion, to bring on board into the digital financial system vast parts of society that today do not benefit themselves from the digital world.
The third way we think CBDC can improve financial inclusion is through what we call programmability. That is, CBDC can allow government agencies and private sector players to program, to create smart contracts, to allow targeted policy functions. For example, welfare payment, for example, consumption coupon, for example, food stamp. By programming CBDC, those money can be precisely targeted for what kind of people can own and what kind of use this money can be utilized, for example, for food. So this potential programmability can help government agencies to precisely target their support to those people who need support. So that way can also improve financial inclusion.
Bretton Woods conference. So I think we really need a sort of new Bretton Woods, I would say, for digital finance, DeFi, for crypto assets, for CBDC, but we surely...
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher, and you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And also, guys, make sure you go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we had Bitcoin and crypto fall off a cliff once seeing me open. As I'm doing this video, we are moving up slightly. Now we had Trump talk about auditing Fort Knox. And then we had Scott Bessent says it's already been audited. All the gold is there. And we have all the central banks buying up gold for a reason. And we had Mark Yusko over 8 years ago speaking about China backing a percentage of its currency with gold. So we know there was a plan a long time ago. Remember, guys, it moves in phases. And we have Bitcoin is being sold as the digital gold. And that's due to this fourth industrial revolution, the virtual world. But it looks like a percentage of this digital yuan and other CBDCs will be backed by a percentage of gold globally. And CBDCs are nothing but stable coins, but have a lot more power. Remember, guys, they're programmable. They can tell you what, when, and how to buy, and you have 3 to 6 months to spend them, or poof, they're gone. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And then we have Bretton Woods. We need a new Bretton Woods. And we will have a reset either later this year or next year to start moving us over to these stable coins. Remember, guys, it's a process. It's a plan. It's going to take about 3 to 4 years to complete. But we see Trump moving things fast forward in order to land us in this fourth industrial revolution. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And then we also had Kevin O'Leary doing what? Pushing the digital dollar. And remember, he was one of the first ones to start pushing it along with Giancarlo. But guys, in order to get us moved over without the people understanding why we're moving over, that's right, we need that crisis, that distraction to get us moved over to this new economy. And that's the reason why we're having currency wars, tariff wars. And we have former Bank of England Governor Mark Carney named the Prime Minister of Canada, saying he's not going to back down from the United States. And guys, we know this is nothing but the Hegelian dialectic. Both countries need each other. But while the people fight each other, they'll be moving us over to this new digital economy. And we have Ray Dalio, who has been saying for years the collision between the U.S. and China, the two superpowers, would happen, and now saying the U.S. is headed for an economic heart attack. And he knows that the BRICS are going to be moving off this dollar. And that's the reason why Trump is trying to cut this deficit. And remember, guys, this is not the first time. When Bill Clinton was in, he did something similar. Remember, the NWO repeats the process. But we have the United States wants to go into deflation, and China wants to go into inflation. So you're witnessing the fall of the United States dollar along with the fall of America to Babylon and the rise of China, the dragon, with that digital yuan backed by that digital SDR. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. Because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
The most important part of this whole announcement and Friday itself was signaling that the regulatory environment is going to change on all things crypto. As you know, the last administration under Gensler at the SEC, the way policy was being administered was through litigation, trying to interpret the existing laws into the new technologies of Bitcoin and all the other technologies in crypto. And it was a mire of just lawsuits. That's changing. That was the signal. And the Bitcoin Reserve is actually, more importantly, but there's $17 billion in it right now that's been seized. What is being signaled by President Trump is that that's going to be kept by Treasury as an asset. And he's not adding to it right now, but that and a lot of the industry wanted to see some percentage of assets kept in Bitcoin. But that's not as important as what he did in signaling regulation. That's stack number one. Number two, and this was very important, is that we have been debating the American dollar and digitizing the American dollar now for almost 5 years. One act was from Gillibrand called the Stablecoin Act, and more recently the Genius Act with Senator Haggerty. These acts are going to merge. They're going to be co-authored. And digitizing the American dollar is probably the most important and largest aspect of crypto we could do, because every commodity on earth is denominated by the American dollar. We don't want the Russians and the Chinese and the North Koreans and South American countries trying to come up with an alternative, which they are talking about. We want the dollar to rule, and this is how you start. It's the largest market. It's a multi-trillion-dollar market, and this is the lowest hanging fruit. Bipartisan bill, going to be hitting the floor soon. I totally support it. Real action was not on Friday. It was Thursday night in dinners being held all over town by all these crypto people from around the world coming into Washington. I went there. That's the signal I got. So go Gillibrand, go Haggerty, merge it together, get it through. Lots of opposition from Elizabeth Warren on this one, but I think her party's going to abandon her on it. We want the American dollar digitized.
The Canadian government has rightly retaliated and is rightly retaliating with our own tariffs that will have maximum impact in the United States and minimum impact here in Canada. And my government will keep our tariffs on until the Americans show us respect.
Hedge fund manager Ray Dalio, he says we're at risk of an economic heart attack because no politician has a plan to get the deficit down, and we've got a debt crisis.
How about BRICS? You know, the BRIC states, there are like 6 of them, and they were trying to destroy our dollar. They were going to say, you know, they wanted to create a new currency. They probably wanted to use the yuan. China, they wanted to use the yuan. And Biden said, well, this is a tough situation. There's not much we can do about that. We can't help that. I said, oh, we can help it. So when I came in, the first thing I said is any BRIC state that even mentions the destruction of the dollar will be charged a 150% tariff. And we don't want your goods. We don't want to partake. And the BRIC states just broke up. I don't know what the hell happened to them. We haven't heard from the BRIC states lately.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important.
look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets. Now,
it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a Treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York. From COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.